Aw yeah, here we go. Episode 1 did a great job establishing the world and the conflicts, but episode 2 is where the fun really gets to start. Now we can really start diving into the characters. Because a cool world and an intriguing conflict don't mean anything if the characters in question are boring, underdeveloped, or unlikable. This is why I stand by the idea that you should watch the first 3 episodes of a show before you decide if you want to keep watching it or not. Episode 1 just can't fill in all of the important details in its runtime. Here's a fun thing, if you can think of a show where the first episode is better than the second episode, let me know in the comments. Anyways, let's get into Korra. I know it's a bit of a bummer starting off the review with a negative, but the previously on segments for Korra is just not nearly as good as Last Airbender's. I think the constant narration and the fake old school grain thing is more distracting than anything else. As a positive though, Jeff Bennett does a great job, though he always does with every show he's been in. Thanks, Jeff.
The Buzzard Wasps won with a decisive knockout.
I think it's a great touch to start right away with Korra's interest in the pro bending matches. This is a key element for her character through this whole season, and there's no need to filly-fart around building up to this. Sometimes I see people trying to slowly introduce characters to key concepts of their story, and it's not always necessary. Sometimes we can just get straight to the point, you know? Honestly, this whole first scene tells us a lot right off the bat. Korra's interest in pro bending, and then Tenzin's line of,
"That sport is a mockery of the noble tradition of bending."
tells us both A, he's already at odds with something Korra is interested in, establishing a personal conflict for the two characters right away, which will ultimately play into the themes of this whole episode. Characters are interesting when they have disagreements or conflicts between them, especially if we're only just getting to meet them. These conflicts will help to easily flesh them out for the audience. And B, it helps clarify that pro bending is a sport. While you could have surmised this based off of Korra's dialogue, a little bit of clarification is never a bad thing. Especially since this is like the first real bending sport we've ever heard of in the world of Last Airbender. Except for maybe that one earthbending game the kids played in the Tales of Ba Sing Se. This shot also shows us these people? The airbending acolytes never really get explained by anyone throughout the whole series, but it's not hard to figure out what's going on if you pay attention to what Pema and a few other characters say about the topic. This whole scene is just doing a fantastic job at establishing key aspects to the world of Korra. Korra likes pro bending, Tenzin doesn't, and there's people living on the Air Temple Island. Hell, even the cover of Korra's newspaper has Tano on it, setting him up before we even get to see him later. We spend months in filmmaking classes learning about the importance of what's visible in frame and how to execute it properly, on top of good character dialogue that helps build their characters and explains core elements to the world and the plot. All of these little things really are majorly important in the long run, and Korra does it perfectly here.
But every single time I've tried airbending, nothing.
I love seeing how the only elements we actually watch Korra learn are the elements Aang never trained to do. When we met Aang, he was already considered a master of airbending. I never really gave it a second thought, but here it's fascinating seeing what all went into studying what it's like to be an airbender. I also really like how it wasn't fire that Korra was struggling with. If we watched every avatar struggle with their elemental opposite, it would just start to feel a little stale. Look at this dad move right here! So last time I mentioned how 3D and 2D never really work for me, and I have to admit, I think I spoke a little too soon. The spinning things Korra and Jinora go through here are also 3D, and I think 3D works a lot better with blocky, squared off shapes, like these steps and the spinny doodads. I never found them distracting. Not only do I think it works better here, but also, animating these things in 2D would be a gigantic pain in the ass. Yo, any animators out there, remember, work smarter, not harder.
I am a little goblin.
They really just went ham on animating Milo here, huh?
Airbend!
she says, opting out of the typical airbending pose to instead attempt a Kamehameha. Interesting choice, I'll admit.
This Mako's got moxie. He advances, fires 2 quick shots.
It's a nice touch that the fire ferrets are the ones they're listening to play on the radio here. Not only does it set them up for later, but it specifically sets up Mako, which might have helped lead to Korra's future crush on him too.
I'm Batman.
It's hard to talk about scenes like this one because it's honestly just a nice moment. We develop their characters further through their interactions. We're not really establishing anything new now. We're just checking in on the development of our characters that we've already set. It is fun seeing how this meditation goes completely differently compared to their first conversation about airbending. Tenzin was very soft-spoken and supportive, while here he's much more strict. On the other hand, Korra was very polite and open to listen. Now she's much more dismissive and pessimistic. Both characters are going in negative directions here due to how the other one is acting. And I know their argument is kind of the whole plot for this episode, but it's scenes like this that help move us forward, that help flesh out the characters more than just being arguing all the time. Oh god, I paused at the wrong time and look at that tumor on her arm. Jesus, it's not stopping! Who animated this? Like, I know not all animation is amazing. There was also this less than stellar frame from episode 1, but just like, yeah. I just love swimming animation. No matter what show, it always looks cool, right? Like, I'm not wrong, right? Swimming looks cool.
No, wait!
There you are! I've been looking everywhere for you.
There he is! There's my favorite white boy!
It's Bolin, the #1 best character in the show! Yeah! When I first saw Bolin, I just assumed he was gonna be the Sokka of the group, and in many ways he is. He is the comic relief lots of times, but he's just very fun, and I love him. He's also the first likable character Korra has met here in Republic City, other than the airbending kids. Oh, and I guess that one hobo was kinda cool too. Regardless, now is a great time to give Korra another character who's on her side. And it's high time it's a character her own age too. It's just been old dudes and snotty little kids so far. It's time. The second worst character of the show.
I told you. You have to stop bringing your crazy fangirls in here before the matches.
Yup, it's Mako. Mako is one of the worsts. Congratulations, bud. Unlike the airbender kids, Mako starts out pretty bad and gets generally more tolerable as the series goes on. There's going to be plenty of specific moments that help me explain my stance on this topic, so I'll go into it more when those moments pop up. But also just don't be worried. I'm not gonna sit here and just shit all over Mako every time he's on screen. I can put my personal dislike of the character aside for the sake of review. And while we're on Mako, there's actually one thing I really love about him, and it's his name. Mako is named after Iroh's original voice actor, Mako Iwamatsu, who sadly passed away before Last Airbender's final season. Mako is named to honor his memory, and I really love how the show decided to do this with one of the main characters. It's really sweet, and I think it's just amazing. The pro bending bit is a lot of fun. This is the most bending related action we've seen so far, and it's cool watching people use their bending in a way that isn't intended for combat. On top of that, the scene does a good job establishing what the rules are for pro bending, at least on a basic level. I really like how they do it here, and they don't just over rely on the announcer interrupting the game to spell out the rules for us. That sort of thing is always really clunky and usually just takes me out of the moment. And most importantly, it's a fun game to watch. It's easy to get wrapped up in rooting for Mako to cinch the victory. The absolutely gorgeous animation and stellar choreography definitely help with that. Oh no, I know that look. Korra, no, you're falling into a celebrity crush, no!
One more win and we're in the championship tournament!
This snap always feels so weird to me. Like, the timing of it is just, like, weird. Why did Bolin use it to punctuate his sentence? It seems like it was supposed to happen while he said his final line. Like this. One more win and we're in the championship tournament. I hope my mic picks that up. He makes some weirdly intense eye contact while he does it too, and the little white glow to highlight his snap just doesn't look right. It's just weird. Facts. When girls get excited, they grab you like they want to steal your lunch money, then aggressively shove you across the whole room. I'm lying, no one does that. I don't know why Korra did this, I'm lying.
I'm just not sure how my earthbending would translate to your waterbending.
Won't be a problem. I'm actually an earthbender.
See, it's things like this that help highlight what I was saying last time about the Avatar being more like a celebrity. Bolin's reaction is like how I would react to seeing, like, Kofi Kingston. Meeting Aang was like meeting Jesus, basically. Though I don't like the implication of what the scene is saying.
You're the Avatar, and I'm an idiot.
Both are true.
Remember, kids, you should always be generally nice to everyone you meet. After all, you never know if they might actually end up being a super famous person. Like, I'm all for the golden rule, but this isn't how you should do it.
What's it take to impress this guy?
What? I said not bad.
That's a compliment.
I do really want to talk about the combat of Korra, but I'll go into it a little bit later in this episode. For now, though, I want to talk about the differences between Bolin teaching Korra and Tenzin teaching Korra. Bolin is being very supportive, but also very specific with his directions. He's giving a visual aid and explaining the entire process of his actions step by step. And it works very well for Korra. She immediately picks it up right away, and I don't think it's just because she can already earthbend. It's because Bolin's teaching method worked better for Korra to understand. Korra is struggling with Tenzin because he's not giving Korra the right amount of guidance. Or rather, the right form of guidance. He explains the idea of airbending, but not how airbending actually works. This might also be part of the reason why Korra struggles with it so much. You can touch water, you can see how fire moves, you can tell how a rock can break apart. Air isn't so easy to grasp. I really love how we can see the differences in the teaching styles and Korra's reception to their teachings in this episode. Not only does it help Korra develop, but it also makes it easy to start liking Bolin as a character too.
Maybe the problem isn't me. Maybe the reason I haven't learned airbending yet is because you're a terrible teacher!
Like, I know this whole moment is meant to be a low point for Korra, and it is presented to us as a bad thing, but she's ultimately not wrong though. As much as I love Tenzin, he is not acting like a good teacher. There are no bad students. When students fail, it's because they're not able to keep up with what's expected from them, even if they're trying their hardest. Tenzin should realize that if Korra is struggling, he should change his teaching methods. Playing devil's advocate against myself, though, Korra is also not in the right here. It doesn't matter how frustrating this is, lashing out violently like this is never the right answer. She's lucky no one got hurt in her fiery temper tantrum, but even then, destruction of property is not okay. While Tenzin should have realized his teaching method wasn't working, Korra should have been more vocal about her frustrations. Preferably before something got burned down. Though I feel like I should point out that these are not flaws on behalf of the characters, this is a conflict for them. Your characters can make mistakes, but that doesn't make them irredeemable. It just means I have room to grow.
Yeah, you're a terrible teacher, Daddy.
And did you ever wonder why he's the #1 worst character? Who holds a book like that? You fucking weirdo.
Time's up. You in or out?
We're in!
We are?
Yes!
Cute little moment that really highlights their personalities. I love things like this.
Fire ferret, waterbender, penalty.
You're only allowed to knock players off the back of the ring, not over the sides.
Hey, wait a minute.
I've dreamed about seeing a pro bending match since I was a kid, and now I'm just a ferry ride away from the arena.
Well, hold on there. If Korra's been interested in the sport since she was a kid, she should be more aware of the rules by now. Especially basic rules like don't knock over the sides. This mostly seems like a weird oversight on the writers' behalf, because as it is, it just makes Korra seem oddly stupid. And I know she has the disadvantage of not having a visual for the matches since it's only on the radio, show, but still, she's seen pictures of the stadium. She should know the basic rules. And honestly, it would have just made more sense if Korra was only just now getting interested in pro bending since landing in Republic City. Without controlling the White Lotus War with her growing up, I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't let her listen to the radio either. If Korra came in knowing just as much as we do, then there would be a good excuse for her to not know some of these rules. They didn't pop up in that one match we've seen, so Korra, just like us, wouldn't know about them.
I'll get her myself.
I love how Tenzin airbends in anger when he walks away from people. It's a nice touch.
I have tried my very best to get through to you by being gentle and patient.
So that was a fucking lie.
No! This is what I need to learn! Modern styles of fighting!
Yes! This doesn't get touched on too much throughout the show, but this is a concept that I really love about Korra compared to Last Airbender. Korra is very much living through the equivalent of the Industrial Revolution. A lot is changing in the world, and one of the things I love is these changes to the way bending is used. I already talked about how metal and lightning bending are now common practice, but seeing the evolution of combat itself is really cool too. And now I can talk about Korra's combat style. I love it. While stylistically it's not nearly as beautiful and intricate as the martial arts used in Last Airbender, seriously, watching Toph do anything was always the most amazing thing in the world. This new style of combat is really unique in just how streamlined it is. And just because it's streamlined, that doesn't make it boring. The way Bolin and Mako usually fight is very reminiscent of a boxer, and it's a lot of fun seeing that sort of style mixed in with the traditional martial arts of the other characters. It just adds a really unique mix of different offensive, defensive, and evasive maneuvers for every single player on the battlefield, and it helps add some new flair to bending in general. Back on track with the episode, it's nice how Tenzin stays to watch the rest of her match, and how he does cheer for her when she ultimately wins in the end. I find it odd how Korra sort of instantly snaps into airbender mode during the middle of the match, especially since it's just after she was yelling at Tenzin about how she doesn't think she needs to do airbending. But maybe it's the sort of thing that it just made more sense to Korra when she was in the middle of a fight, playing off of Tenzin's line of,
Being the Avatar isn't all about fighting, Korra.
maybe Korra just learns better when it's trial by fire. I can't be the only one who thinks the smile on Korra looks weird, right? Like it's oddly familiar, and it just looks weird, right? This episode is a really solid one, introducing and establishing two of our main Team Avatar members, and the pro-bending subplot. However, this episode is also sort of weird, especially hot off the heels of episode 1. We don't see anything from our villains, nor do we hear about the non-bender movement again this time around. While those things definitely weren't necessary for this episode, it just feels odd to pace it out like this, especially since the stinger for episode 1 was hinting at a Mon. Also with this episode, despite introducing Bolin and Mako, there's a lot of aspects to their characters we haven't seen yet. We only see Mako wearing his signature scarf at the very end of the episode, and Bolin doesn't even get that. Not to mention, Pabu didn't even get introduced. But I suppose the important parts of their personalities and their relationships with each other and Korra were a bit more important to establish than all of that. Even Pabu, sorry buddy. I really like this episode. It's hard not to like it. Between Bolin's fun charm, Korra's bending struggles, and the pro-bender matches, it constantly stays on its toes throughout the whole thing. Next time, we can start kicking off the plot proper now too. So I'll hope you join me then.
My name is Jenna, I'm 30, and I have a basketball game tomorrow.
Shout out to my $10 patrons, you're all amazing. Nako, James Dodds, Cool Deck, Andrew, Ramiel, Valhalla Knight, Chamomile, G-Extreme, Classy Critic, Surge, Mordred Pendragon, Boulder Off Rose, Great Bar, Caleb Grimm, Pentamenta, Genital War Thunder, Carmen, Order, Jake, Storm, Amber, Lawleth, Livid Aries, Matt Frost, Just a Chap in a Top Hat, and Hype Man. I hope you liked this review. I'm enjoying Korra so much. There's going to be a bit of a drought for Korra through October because it's going to be a lot of like Halloween-based videos, so sorry about that, but it will be the first thing back up when we go into November, right after Halloween. So get ready for that. Tell me all your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. Do you agree with my stance on Bolin being best boy and Mako being not? Any and all thoughts and opinions, leave them in the comments below. I would love to see them, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.